I've been working my way through the book of Numbers in my daily devotion. And I don't know if you know this, but Numbers is often referred to as a book of murmurings. And it is chapter after chapter of God's children whining and complaining, even though time and time again, God provides and God pardons and God protects. And yet the murmuring goes on and on and on. And in fact, in chapter 14 is when Moses sends out the spies. Actually, it's 13. He sends out the spies to check out Canaan and see the land. And we know the story. And only Caleb and Joshua come back with a good report. Everybody else is complaining. Everybody else is like, no, they're giants. It's bad land. And Joshua and Caleb are like, no, it's good. It's good land. And they actually, the rest of the spies turn on Joshua and Caleb and they want to stone them. And it says that God's glory appears and basically it silences the people. And then in verse 11, God says this. It says, then the Lord said to Moses, how long will these people reject me? And how long will they not believe me with all the signs which I have performed among them? I will strike them with the pestilence and disinherit them. And I will make of you a nation greater and mightier than they. And this is God's response to the people ready to stone Caleb and Joshua for their boldness, for their faith, for their courage. And God's like, I'm done. He's like, I'm ready to get rid of them. And Moses, I'll use you. I'll use you. I'll make a great nation out of you. And I don't know about you guys, but if I were Moses, I'd be like, you know what, God, that sounds like a great plan. That sounds like an excellent plan. But that is not Moses. That is not how he responds here. In fact, he actually begins to intercede for the people. He begins to remind God of who he is and how he pardons his people. He says this, he says, the Lord is long suffering in verse 18 and abundant in mercy, forgiving iniquity and transgression. But he by no means clears the guilty, visiting the iniquity of the fathers on their children to the third and fourth generation. He says, pardon the iniquity of this people, I pray, according to the greatness of your mercy, just as you have forgiven this people from Egypt, even until now. He's like, God, this is who you are. This is who you will always be. No, pardon these people. And I don't know why, but I was so struck by Moses in here because I'm thinking, wow, Moses, you've been dealing with these people every day. And yet you still have a heart for them. When God was ready to just say, yeah, you know what, let's just start over. And Moses, I'm going to start with you. Moses like, no. Why? 2 reasons. Because Moses loved God's people. Moses loved the children of God. But second, Moses was the most humble man to walk the face of this earth. And Moses didn't look at the sins of the people and point his finger. No, he saw himself before his God and he was humbled. And he said, oh Lord, no, don't do that. That's not who you are. And then in verse 20, it says this, then the Lord said, I have pardoned according to your word. But truly, as I live, all the earth shall be filled with the glory of the Lord. It's like, Moses, because you've humbled yourself before me, because you have stood in the gap for these murmuring people, I will extend mercy. I will be the God that I am. That's our God. And that's the heart of Moses. And that's why Moses was such an amazing man, an amazing leader, and chosen by God in his humility. A man that could barely speak, and yet he had to speak. He had to go up and he had to lead this group of people. And he did it willingly, and he did it humbly, and he trusted his God.